is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. Public schools hoping for full-time, face-to-face learning, but a school brawl bringing the issue of school violence into the forefront once again. The U.S. urges the Bahamas to act against Russia and also calls for the country to enact transparency and accountability legislation. And in Morning Blend Business, we are talking about the conveyances in unapproved subdivisions issue. What you need to know, it's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend. Well, we're having some issues there, but good morning again. Welcome to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9 on this Friday, March 4th, 2022. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Stephen Hanna will be joining us. A lot to get to this morning, but first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. Pardon us as we sort through our technical challenges today, but the United States is encouraging the Bahamas to close its airspace to Russian aircraft and limit Russian access to the Bahamian financial system following Ukraine's attack on Ukraine. That's according to senior U.S. Embassy official. The public affairs officer in the embassy, Daniel Durazzo, saying, quote, "The United States and our allies are continuing to support the Ukrainian people as they defend their country and their democracy from unprovoked Russian aggression, including through security, economic, and humanitarian assistance. We thank the Bahamas for the strong stance it has taken thus far and continue to encourage the Bahamas to take concrete steps to counter Russia, such as by limiting Russia's access to the Bahamian financial system and restricting Bahamian airspace to Russian aircraft." Durazzo says the U.S. welcomes efforts by allies and partners to make Russian President Vladimir Putin, quote, "pay the price for his unprovoked and unjustified attack on Ukraine." He says the U.S. is also encouraging its partners, like the Bahamas, to add to humanitarian assistance in support of the Ukrainian people. A U.S. State Department report saying the Bahamas should move to fully bring into force transparency and accountability legislation to prevent and address corruption and preserve public confidence. The International Narcotics Control Strategy report noted that the Bahamas government does not support or encourage illicit drug production or distribution, but it says, quote, "there are instances where narcotics traffickers have had ties to government officials. Since 2017, the Bahamas has enacted but not fully brought into force a range of laws to fight official corruption, draft laws presented by the prior administration to establish an ombudsman office and an anti-corruption agency focused on public corruption, and this has not been taken up in October by the new administration. It also pointed to the fact that in May 2021, the first information commissioner and deputy commissioner were appointed under the Freedom of Information Act to support public access to government records, but that Parliament has not yet brought into force clauses of the same act that define a process for the public to obtain information. CARICOM countries should act together to counter the threat of climate change, according to Prime Minister Philip Davis. He urged and argued that the adverse impacts of climate change are already hitting the planet harder and faster than previously thought. And businessman Sebastian Bastian appointed non-resident ambassador to the Central American Integration System. The Prime Minister making that announcement yesterday as well. Davis saying, quote, "It's a sign of my country's commitment to engagement in the region at a level that has heretofore not existed." He says Bastian will be vigorous in his engagement with the region and use his business acumen and skills in outreach for the mutual benefit of the countries in the region. SICA members include Belize, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, Panama, and the Dominican Republic. Bastian is the CEO of Island Luck, the largest gaming house in the country. He's also the owner of Eyewitness News. And the global surge in oil prices is a double whammy for local distributors. That's according to Focal Holdings Limited Chairman Sir Franklin Wilson. He says that demand will likely decrease because of high prices, but that companies will still have to spend a lot to maintain supplies. And just 2 new COVID cases recorded in the country Wednesday as numbers remain the lowest since before the start of the 4th wave. Both cases were in New Providence, with 184 tests performed. The positivity rate on Wednesday was 1.1%, well below the World Health Organization's recommended maximum of 5%. The daily rate has not exceeded 5% since mid-February. 47 cases have been confirmed in the country in the past week. Of them, 40 in New Providence, 4 in Grand Bahama, 2 in Abaco, and 1 on Crooked Island. Overseas, Ukrainian firefighters today extinguishing a blaze at Europe's biggest nuclear plant that was ignited by a Russian attack, but no radiation was released, according to UN and Ukrainian officials. Russian forces continue to press their campaign to cripple the country despite global condemnation. The head of the United Nations Atomic Agency saying that a Russian projectile hit a training center at the plant. Ukrainian officials have said Russian troops took control of the overall site, but the plant staff are continuing to ensure its operations. The head of the International Atomic Energy Agency says that Russian forces were at the plant, but the Ukrainians were still in control. Ukraine's state nuclear plant operator says that 3 Ukrainian soldiers were killed and 2 wounded in the attack. 2 people were injured in the blaze that broke out as well. Ukraine's state nuclear regulator earlier said that no changes in radiation levels have been recorded so far after the plant came under attack. No radioactive material has been released either. The attack caused worldwide concern and evoked memories of the world's worst nuclear disaster at Ukraine's Chernobyl. In sports, for the first time in 2 years, the Bahamas Chess Federation will engage in over-the-board, in-person chess tournaments for its members and anyone interested in playing the game. That's happening as a result of the reduction in COVID cases in the country and the easing of restrictions. The BCF New Providence Open Chess Tournament is set for this weekend, March 5th and 6th at Queens College on Village Road. Will get underway 9 a.m. Saturday and 10 a.m. on Sunday. It's a chess Olympiad qualifier, and COVID-19 protocols will be enforced. You can read more about this in today's Guardian Sports section. From Major League Baseball, Deputy Commissioner Dan Halem and Chief Union Negotiator Bruce Meyer meeting for 1.5 hours Thursday and discussing the major issues in the stalled talks to reach a deal that would end Major League Baseball's lockout. Union General Counsel Ian Penny and MLB Executive Vice President Morgan Swart also participating in that session. The Players Association Executive Board held a conference call later that day, yesterday, and there was no known decision on the timing of the next negotiation session. Baseball's 9th work stoppage was in its 92nd day yesterday. and is the sport's first labor conflict to cause games to be canceled since the 1994-1995 strike wiped out World Series. The World Series for the first time in 90 years. Negotiations broke off Tuesday after the 9th straight day of meetings in Jupiter, Florida, and Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred announced that opening day on March 31st and the first 2 series for each team had been canceled. He said there would be insufficient training time for the March 31st openers. And from the NBA, Reggie Jackson scoring 12 of his season-high 36 points in the fourth quarter while adding 9 assists and 8 rebounds as the Los Angeles Clippers completed a 4-game season sweep of the LA Lakers with a 132-111 victory last night. Vika Zubac had 19 points and 9 rebounds for the Clippers, who seized control of the sweep, clinching victory and their 7th straight win over the Lakers overall by scoring 23 consecutive points during the first 6 minutes of the third quarter. The Clippers outscored their cross-hallway rivals 37-10 late into the third before coasting to their 5th consecutive victory in the past 8 days, including 2 over the Lakers. The victory was the latest in a torrid stretch for the Clippers, who've won 7 of their last 8 without likely their 3 most valuable or talented players, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and Norman Powell. Although none of the trio is thought to be close to returning, Jackson and a gritty supporting cast have kept the Clips on track for another playoff berth with an increasing chance to avoid the play-in tournament after this victory, which pulled them within 1 game of the 7th-place Minnesota. Meanwhile, with the Lakers, LeBron James had 26 points and 8 rebounds. The Lakers have lost 4 straight and 7 of 8 to fall a season worst 8 games below 500. They're at 27-35. The once proud franchise that began the season with the championship aspirations is now 2 games ahead of the 11th place Portland, with little reason to think its spiral will end soon. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for a first look at weather. In your first look at weather for today, high pressure across the area will generate moderate northeast to east breezes across the islands. There remains a moderate risk of rip currents along north and east coast beaches. For all areas today, forecast calls for partly sunny, warm, and breezy conditions with a few scattered showers. Mainly fair and breezy tonight with a passing shower or 2 possible. For boaters, small craft operators should exercise caution. Winds northeast to east at 15 to 20 knots, seas 4 to 6 feet. Currently, it's about 73 degrees under mostly cloudy skies in Nassau, some light rain in some parts of the island. We are looking at highs getting up to around 82 Fahrenheit, 29 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 66 Fahrenheit, 19 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook coming up after traffic in just a bit.
Wake up, It's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of
Fidelity, we're good for you.
We know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
If you're looking to diversify your portfolio, chart a course for RF mutual funds, where you can get global returns through our suite of internationally invested funds. Get exposure in U.S., Asian, European, and emerging markets without central bank approval. And with financial services leader Morgan Stanley as the advisor of our international funds, you can benefit from RF's global connections. Set sail for international markets today by visiting rfgroup.com. RF, money at work.
wake up. It's a new day. Wake up. It's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up. It's a new day. Wake up. It's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, wake up.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us 422-4796. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Stephen Hanna's going to be joining us in a moment. We've got some gremlins this morning. We're trying to exorcise them, so bear with us a little bit. But, yeah. Okay. Coming up this morning, more weather and traffic. And throughout the morning, we're going to be talking about what's in the news, quite a bit to get to this morning. Later in Morning Blend Business, we're going to be talking about that issue that got a lot of people very concerned about conveyances and unapproved subdivisions. It's such a common experience here. We're going to be talking with the lawyers who argued a case before the Privy Council about this and what you need to know, what you need to be doing if you fear that you're involved, that you might be involved in a situation like this, and how we can get this, what needs to happen for this not to happen anymore. All of that coming up. But first, it's time to talk about what's in the news. Okay, so it looks like nothing's going to be working right today. So this is going to be one of those mornings. It's a Freaky Friday, so we just have to adjust. That's how it is, right? All right. So a lot to talk about, as we said. More pressure on the government to deal with masks. Schools are hoping to go full-time face-to-face. And just as they have that conversation, or continue to have that conversation, we see why some things we haven't had to talk about in 2 years, big, giant school brawls, right? Because all the kids have been home, supposedly on virtual learning. But, yeah. But when they're back face-to-face, then they start punching their faces. So that's what another challenge there. But the big headline in the Nassau Guardian today, U.S. urges Bahamas to act against Russia. The embassy here says this country can limit Russian access to its financial system. Our Jasper Ward writing about that. The United States is encouraging the Bahamas to close its airspace to Russian aircraft and limit Russian access to the Bahamian financial system following Russia's attack on Ukraine, according to a senior U.S. official yesterday. That official, Daniel Durazo, the public affairs officer at the United States Embassy in the Bahamas, in a statement saying, quote, the United States and our allies are continuing to support the Ukrainian people as they defend their country and their democracy from unprovoked Russian aggression, including through security, economic, and humanitarian assistance. We thank the Bahamas for the strong stance it has taken thus far and continue to encourage the Bahamas to take concrete steps to counter Russia, such as by limiting Russian access to the Bahamian financial system and restricting Bahamian airspace to Russian aircraft. Durazo says the U.S. welcomes efforts by allies and partners to make Russian President Vladimir Putin, quote, pay the price for his unprovoked and unjustified attack on Ukraine. He said the U.S. is also encouraging its partners, like the Bahamas, to add to humanitarian assistance in support of the Ukrainian people. He said, quote, the United States is coordinating with our European partners, humanitarian organizations, the UN, and other organizations, and we encourage other governments to also consider supporting or increasing support to Ukraine's humanitarian response plan. We continue to urge Russia to stop its unprovoked and unjustified attack on Ukraine and end the conflict, and we encourage all of our like-minded partners to do the same. Prime Minister Davis, meanwhile, on Wednesday, said that CARICOM was considering imposing sanctions on Russia. And he said, quote, we today issued a very strong statement in support of the UN Charter that protects and preserves a country's territorial integrity and their sovereignty. In that regard, going from what was the question of whether sanctions will be imposed by CARICOM states, the general consensus is that until the UN Security Council would pass a resolution to confirm that member states ought to impose sanctions, we have decided to sit back and wait and abide the outcome of such a resolution. Okay. Let's get your reaction to that. Let's get what you have to say about it. And what do you make of what the embassy is encouraging the country to do? That's happening while the U.S. State Department has issued a report urging the Bahamas. It's not really related, just saying, since we're talking about the United States. They've issued a statement to say that they're urging the Bahamas to enact transparency and accountability legislation. This is from the International Narcotics Control Strategy report, which noted that the Bahamas government does not support or encourage illicit drug production or distribution. But it says, however, there are instances where narcotics traffickers have had ties to government officials. What are they talking about? Well, you know. Quote, since 2017, the Bahamas has enacted but not fully brought into force a range of laws to fight official corruption. Draft laws presented by the prior administration to establish an ombudsman's office and an anti-corruption agency focused on public corruption has not been taken up in October by the new administration. In May 2021, the first Information Commissioner and Deputy Commissioner were appointed under the Freedom of Information Act to support public access to government records. Parliament has not yet brought into force clauses of the same act, however, that define a process for the public to obtain information. All right, so a lot there. Let's break it down. Get your views on it. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Are we... Yep, okay, we've got Stephen Hanna with us now. Good morning, Stephen Hanna. on this Freaky Friday. How's it going?
At any point,
You what was that? Say that again.
I was saying, have you not heard me at any moment?
No. This is the first time we're hearing you now, and you're extremely loud and distorted. But we're having a lot of issues in the studio today. But good morning. Great to have you with us. Welcome back.
My end.
It's been a while.
I'm echoing.
Yeah. Something's not quite right. Okay. But anyway, good to
They
hear
all
you.
didn't pay y'all tithes, eh?
Well, or we kidnapped some babies. I don't know. Something's going on.
Okay, that one of those is actually a crime. So I wouldn't admit that on air.
I said maybe. We don't know.
I don't think that's how the law works.
Okay. But anyway, we've got some calls coming in. Hopefully, by the time we take the calls, we'll sort you out. But 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. It's karma. That would be the issue with the kidnapping of the babies. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, Glenn.
Hi.
I see you're blending very well this morning.
Well.
You're starting off calling it freaky. It's not that bad.
Well, okay. Well, so you say. But
I want to.
But well, we got some issues in here, but we will deal with it. But how are you?
I'm great. But what I would like you to allow me to do to imagine if I were Putin and I've been playing chess all my life by the creators who designed the game, Chinese. I see this happening. The coronavirus was a test, and I heard a video where he mentioned how small the Bahamas is and how you'd like to use it.
No.
Sorry?
Now you know that wasn't a real video.
No. I know it was to be seen only by the Russians.
No,
it wasn't for you.
It wasn't to be seen by.
No. That wasn't for you. That was so that they don't protest what he's going to do because he wants to turn the Bahamas into Dubai.
Let's not
and
even
they're going to use migrants to bring the Wuhan 400. This is what I would do if I were you.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Before you go, you have a great sense of humor. We appreciate your calls.
Sorry,
but
I
a lot
can't
of
hear you too well.
you have a fantastic sense of humor. We appreciate your calls, but people are going to think what you're saying here is accurate and real.
Have a good day.
Let's not do that today.
But I only said in the first instance what I would do.
Yeah, let's hear that part.
But that's exactly what I would do because my goal and my partner's aim is to get rid of everybody who's thinking democratic in the world, and that's get rid of America. And to come through the Bahamas is an ideal way to do it with Cuban migrants who are infected with this condition.
Oh, my goodness.
It melts your brain in 12 hours.
Okay, wow. Thank you very much.
Check
Appreciate it. Oh, dear Lord. So it's going to be the whole country. It's going to be freaky today. That's what
I don't know why you blaming the country.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see how the next one goes. But I have a feeling. I just have.
No, it's like I never left. It's like this is exactly how I remember it.
Did you think it was
everything being on fire
after 3 weeks? It would be different.
It feels a little calmer.
Okay. Wow. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us 422-4796. Let's focus for this moment because Russia might get us into more of that. We don't need that. What the U.S. is saying about the transparency and accountability legislation finally putting FOIA into real effect where people could use it. We're hearing from the information commissioner, which is progress. So maybe we are a little bit closer, but this really seems to be a drawn-out process. My goodness.
Very okay. Well, I guess we'll see. But that was my question. My question is the push for this because of the association with politicians and I guess is it drug runners or drug producers and manufacturers?
Narcotics traffickers.
Okay, right. So, but not human smuggling.
I'm sure all of it.
I know. I'm just asking. I just want to know what the impetus was to finally put this pressure on the Bahamian government.
Who says finally? I don't know if it's finally, but
for years they've been, not doing it and avoiding it.
I don't think that's right at all. We've heard many talk about it. But it's
when you say talk,
I don't think it's not. It's a new thing, but this is a new report that is saying that that is also urging. But we need it. We don't need to hear somebody from another country tell us that this is desperately needed, right?
And we've been saying it.
And yet here we are. So, right, what are we going to do?
Wait, who's the we?
The Bahamian people.
The collective Bahamian people?
Yes, continue to sit back and just let them take this sweet time.
What are the options?
I don't know. But hey, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Progress, the Org Bahamas is pleased. I don't know if that's the right word, but with the progress that's been made, right, after not much progress for a long time. So there are encouraging signs. There have been some town meetings, and that's more than we've ever had before. So perhaps we're almost there. Let's go to the text line, 422-4796. Someone says here, Bahamas sheeple, not many left in this country that think independently, place sanctions on China and India while you're at it. That's an interesting text. This one says here, there seems to be a pirate mentality that pervades our leaders and legislators. There appears to be a general reluctance to pass laws for peace, order, and good governance. We hedge by writing legislation, but refusing to bring the same into force. It's almost like we enjoy the chaos with no intention of actually building a nation that we seem so quickly to talk about. Okay. I get your point, and I agree on many levels. All right. So that's happening. You can continue to message us about that or call in about that. Let's get to some other things in the news, including the growing calls for a removal of mask mandates. Bahama a few days ago said they were hoping that the government would consider that for vaccinated guests there. And others are saying they would like to burn their masks as well. Where does the government stand on this? Take a listen to this report from our Berthany McDermott.
Following a call by a top hotel exec to remove the mask mandate for vaccinated visitors, Acting Prime Minister Chester Cooper said it's being looked into. Speaking to a recent Bahamas Hotel and Tourism Association annual general meeting, Bahama President Graham Davis said the resort has seen some pushback from U.S. guests.
Still seeing pushback of guests from our major markets in the United States on the mask mandates, particularly for vaccinated guests, as we now are experiencing over 90% of our guests are fully vaccinated. So that mask mandate removal for hotel guests that are vaccinated would be a tremendous step forward.
Meanwhile, Cooper said a recommendation in this regard is expected next week.
There is a lobby to remove the wearing of masks. It's something that my colleagues from the Ministry of Health and Wellness are looking into. They are looking at the science and the recommendations of the CDC and the WHO, etc., and they will be making a recommendation next week to Cabinet.
Cooper added the decision lies solely in the hands of the health professionals. His comments come one day after he announced government will end the 5-day COVID-19 test requirement for visitors entering the country. Cooper reiterated the desire to strike the right balance, adding that the Davis administration is focused on relaxing restrictions.
We want our stakeholders to do well. When they do well, the country does well. And when tourism does well, the economy does well, and we get jobs and opportunities for Bahamians. So we are very focused on relaxing the protocols. We want to ensure that we stay on the cutting edge of the industry as it relates to competitiveness and efficiency of travel. But at the same time, we want to ensure that we protect ourselves and we protect the Bahamian public.
Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell, who was in Belize attending the 33rd CARICOM Heads of Government meeting, revealed that Caribbean leaders are being urged to scrap travel restrictions completely. Mitchell said he is unsure which way the decision will go, but noted that Jamaica has already scrapped all of its travel restrictions except a requirement for a test 72 hours before travel. The tourism minister acknowledged the exhaustion with mask wearing and acknowledged that the pandemic isn't over.
The pandemic is not over. We have rebounded well in tourism. We do not want to do anything that impact this rebound. The reality of it is if we are able to contain case numbers, our CDC levels will improve, and therefore we will enhance the quality of life and the progress in tourism that we're trying to get.
Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Okay, so interesting report there. I listened to this a couple of times because I was trying to determine if we're only talking about for hotel guests, or are we talking about removing mask mandates for everybody? Could you get a sense of what was happening there?
Well, I don't think it's going to be possible in practice to do that, for it to not be for everybody. Even if we say, this is just for this person, in practice, I don't think that's what's going to happen. It's the same principle where, okay, Bahamians can't gamble in the casino. Well, technically, it was supposed to be Bahamians couldn't gamble, but it eventually became Bahamians can't gamble in this specific place. If you allow one set of persons to do something legally, it's going to be hard to enforce that in practice. So
it's the Bahamas, Stephen. This is what
listen to what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you can't write it on paper, and I'm not saying that in specific areas of the country you can't make that happen. But when Bahamians couldn't gamble in the casinos, Bahamians were gambling everywhere else. So it's like you could put it on paper, but in practice, it will be the end of mask.
That example you gave, that was going on illegally for
many
years.
I understand that.
Until they did something. But
that's the thing, as illegal as it was, it was almost as though it wasn't illegal. Because even when we led up to the referendum, there are people who didn't know that numbers was illegal or web shops were illegal.
Please stop. What do you mean by that?
You don't remember the news reports and stuff?
Well, don't believe everything you hear. But okay, let's focus here though. But this place would try it.
You could get away with it.
This place would try it. If there was ever a place that would try to say, okay, if you're staying on hotel property and you're vaccinated, you don't need to wear a mask. But everywhere else, you must wear a mask. It would be the Bahamas that would try it. In that report, there was no indication as to whether they're talking about the whole country if you're vaccinated. And then, of course, that opens a can of worms of what if you're unvaccinated and how would that work?
I hear what you're saying, but remember earlier on when you're like, are we going to allow them to do X, Y, and Z? This is the action that most Bahamians have available to them, which is, okay, cool, I'm going to completely disregard what you just said and continue on for what is best, in my opinion, for me, right? And so I do not anticipate that even if explicitly it says only on hotel property, only for persons who have an American passport, does this apply, that Bahamians will be like, nobody's going to be wearing a mask.
Yeah. All right, let's hear what you have to say. What do you make of it? And what do you think? I mean, again, listen carefully. And it really seems to be focused on the industry, tourism, and the sector and competitiveness. That was all the key words I heard in that report. And it may not be the case, but they would try it if they could. What would be the implications if they did? But are you, like Stephen, optimistic that they wouldn't?
I was optimistic. I would prefer that we do things across the board. I think I just know that if it were to come to it, where I know that in practice, even though persons might be trying to do things for one thing, that's not how it works. It has to be for everything. You got to do it across the board. It's not going to work.
Oh, yeah. Let's hear what our callers are saying. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Okay. And I see people saying, play it again. We'll try. But remember, it was only the tourism. He's still the acting prime minister, right? But I mean, I think he's speaking in his tourism minister capacity there. Oh, boy. We need to hear what the Minister of Health has to say about this. And that's what it sounds like they're waiting for as well, right? To get advice from the Ministry of Health. But let's hear what you have to say. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Stephen.
Hi, good morning.
At some point, I think you need to play it again. Because as my understanding, right, what he's saying is, I think the the pride is from the hotel. They probably were the ones who come up with the idea, saying that they're dropping the mask in the U.S.
Well, no, a lot of people here have been pushing for it too, though.
Pardon me?
A lot of people here have been pushing for it too, especially with these
but
low
they
numbers.
come up about, through them, I think they probably decided that
Well,
they're
they listen.
vaccinated
They
hotel
seem to listen more when they
drop
speak.
the mask, right? So what the minister is saying, that's the Minister of Tourism, is saying that it's in consideration. But firstly, they want to take that cabinet to see if Bahamian at large could just do away with it. Now, that's my idea of it. But you could play it again so you could listen to it. Because I don't think they're going to just allow just the tourists to come over, not wearing it, saying that it's saying that there's Bahamians like myself, you and Stephen, no doubt, are vaccinated, then the same should happen for us also.
Should.
So I guess they're going to take it to Parliament probably and then see,
Okay. Thank you very much.
understanding. Okay.
Thank you. Is here another caller? Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Good morning. Hi, you are on the air.
Good morning. How you doing?
Doing well.
Right, regarding this issue with the mask mandate, right? I remember at one point you kind of knocked Florida for their stance on the whole COVID situation. Do you still think of them in a bad light now?
Yeah, Florida's a mess. And the governor is...
Florida's a mess?
The governor is...
The numbers don't speak to that, though.
Yeah, but the
But the numbers don't speak to that.
All right. That's fine. DeSantis is trouble.
But the numbers prove that he was correct.
I don't know.
Florida's far ahead of the other state.
Okay.
I mean, those are the facts, though.
I don't know if those are the facts.
Those are the facts.
Whether the numbers have improved or not, it has nothing to do with how they were handling the situation.
Okay, so the numbers don't matter.
All right.
Just the fact that he has the gall to do it. Okay. All right, Dwight. I think listen.
Well, I mean, don't you want to talk about what's happening here and what we're going to do? No?
No, but I'm making a point, a comparison that Florida, the country, the state that we normally go to, has don't have a mask mandate.
Yeah.
Why we still have this issue?
Thousands of people have died. So that means, what does that mean? That they were right in the way they handled the situation?
Based on the numbers, they're far better than any other state in the U.S.
That's not because, no.
Because of government, the government in place did what is necessary for the citizen.
After thousands of people died.
Dwight, live your life.
Okay.
Live your life, Dwight.
Okay. All right.
All
Thanks
right.
a lot.
I think Benson.
Yeah. Well, so all the sick people died, and then now, okay. All right. Sure. Florida did it right. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Caller, good morning. Are you there?
Yes, thank you. Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Yes, calling regarding the report on the possibly removing the mask.
Yes.
Yes, I heard carefully, and I'm thinking that the minister is saying, and he said that they would consider the science, the CDC, and the World Health Organization, etc. And I am anticipating it will be across the board, because if it's not, it will be apartheid. And remember what apartheid is, right? Segregation for some and one.
Or it'll be the Bahamas and then before 1960 something. Yeah.
So you have to have your vaccination. Well, if your tourist vaccination exemption, so to speak, to show, because I will be total discrimination. I think Stephen already mentioned about the casino gambling and things like that. So I would have gone right away about that, where there's a distinction between who can do what and who cannot do what. And it has to do with similar to an ad about whether you have family members in the family and whether you're a real Bahamian or a Bahamian. So there's no two-class Bahamian. There's one society. And so when the rules will be made, I'm anticipating it will be across the board.
Okay.
Thank you.
I like the optimism. It's great. Okay, so people say we got to play it again. Mr. Producer, can we do that? Let's do that right now. Let's play that one again so people can hear everything carefully, hear what was said. So we're going to pull that report up again. While we do that, let me read a couple more messages here. Mrs. Strachan, I'm sick and tired of legislators making laws for tourists and leaving the Bahamians out. I wonder who's running the travel health visa. I see they started that foolishness again. It's a waste of time. What do you mean? Anyway. I'm vaccinated as well, so I don't. So why do I have to test after 5 days on an island where I live? Well, they say they're going to move that. You missed everything yesterday. They're going to move the 5-day requirement afterward. Another one here. The Bahamas is not for Bahamians. This land is for foreigners. Then, now, always. We just happen to be here. Well, we got to be a little more optimistic. I don't know if that's what's going to happen in this case, at least. This person says here, either we have a COVID threat or we don't. After a year of deaths worldwide, no intelligent person should be mentioning that vaccinated people don't want to wear masks. Vaccinated people can get sick. Vaccinated people can die. And most importantly, vaccinated people can infect others. On top of that, we're talking about travelers. They're the biggest risk should a risk exist. So nobody should be basing any public health decision on what they want. Well.
What?
Very interesting points.
I mean, but that's human nature. I mean, the last piece. I hear what they're saying. And you know what? For the most part, whether or not you agree with them, they're right. But I mean, health decisions are based on what we want, if only the thing that we want is being not sick. But like you can't remove the human condition or human desire out of the equation when you're talking about anything that has to do with humans. Like that's how it works. Like we don't eat food solely because we need a certain number of calories. We eat food because we're hungry and we will die without it. And as well as it tastes good. So like that's the primary driving factor for most people when they eat food. They're picking food based on it tasting good. It's like you can't remove that from the conversation. So if people don't want to wear masks, vaccinated, non-vaccinated, hyper-vaccinated, whatever it might be, like you have to also put that in the equation when you're trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
I mean, and here's the thing. When I heard that the UK was dropping mask mandates as well as the CDC or whoever it was inside the States that had recommended that they, ease up on mask mandates, it's like, oh, so it's over. And like we've been waiting for 2 years, if not slightly longer than 2 years, for this to end. And now this is what the ending looks like. It's not a clean ending. It's not a sure, steady, drop like how they do in the Olympics when they dismount. But this is what the end of it looks like. We are approaching the end. Let's not hold on to this thing just because we want to win an argument. And that goes to both sides, right? Where it's like, oh, we want to prove that you guys are wrong all along.
Yeah.
Now, you know what? It was such a complicated thing that at some point, everybody was right. But also at some point, everybody was wrong.
That's a very good point.
But now we've arrived towards the end. Let's get out of it.
Yeah.
But also, let's get out of it without having a silly reason to hate each other. Because if 20 years from now, people are still calling each other vaxxers and non-vaxxers and mask wearers and non-mask wearers, it would be very weird.
Well.
So like in the grand scheme of things, guys, it's the end.
Yeah.
We're not going, next year, this time, nobody is going to demand that you wear a mask.
And keep in mind that regardless of what happens, no one's going to ban you from wearing masks. If that's how you feel comfortable, if that's what you want to do.
Oh, no. See, that's different because people will publicly try to shame and shun you for wearing a mask. Yeah, the same way alcoholic people are like, you don't drink?
Okay.
Oh, have you ever tried it?
You can keep your personal issues off
It's
the
not
show.
a personal issue.
But
it's the same principle.
Oh, okay.
Whereas like sometimes people don't drink. Sometimes people want to wear a mask. But people like to impose their personal views on life on others.
I thought you were going to say, people who say, why are you wearing that color? That kind of thing. But okay, you want to go to drinking.
Well, they do say that depending on what time of the election cycle it is. Because I bet if you were walking around wearing red last week or yellow, somebody is like, oh, all the way.
All right, let's get to these messages, and I do want to play the report one more time. This person says here, I bet you 1 peso that the healthcare people recommended that guests don't wear masks, but that the local peasants do. No, I wouldn't take that bet. No. This one says here, I absolutely agree with the caller. Florida did it right, and it's so sad that Dwight, that you would focus on the governor's personality rather than the results of his decisions. They had some of the highest death tolls of any state. What are you talking about? What did they do right? They had a culling. What are you talking about? Okay. As for here, no one's checking for masks now, so judge. Is that right? We're tired of this COVID mess.
I don't know that to be true, but okay.
Okay.
Maybe in their experience, but once again, everybody's experiences are different. So.
Yeah. This person says here, Dwight, Florida had one of the worst COVID situations in the world. COVID numbers are down based on the course of the virus, not what they did. I will wear my mask in high-risk situations. Yeah, I totally agree with you. All right, let's get to the piece. Let's play it again. Berthany McDermott with that piece on what's happening and the masks mandates.
Following a call by a top hotel exec to remove the mask mandate for vaccinated visitors, Acting Prime Minister Chester Cooper said it's being looked into. Speaking to a recent Bahamas Hotel and Tourism Association annual general meeting, Bahama President Graham Davis said the resort has seen some pushback from U.S. guests.
Still seeing pushback of guests from our major markets in the United States on the mask mandates, particularly for vaccinated guests, as we now are experiencing over 90% of our guests are fully vaccinated. So that mask mandate removal for hotel guests that are vaccinated would be a tremendous step forward.
Meanwhile, Cooper said a recommendation in this regard is expected next week.
There is a lobby to remove the wearing of masks. It's something that my colleagues from the Ministry of Health and Wellness are looking into. They are looking at the science and the recommendations of the CDC and the WHO, etc., and they will be making a recommendation next week to Cabinet.
Cooper added the decision lies solely in the hands of the health professionals. His comments come one day after he announced government will end the 5-day COVID-19 test requirement for visitors entering the country. Cooper reiterated the desire to strike the right balance, adding that the Davis administration is focused on relaxing restrictions.
We want our stakeholders to do well. When they do well, the country does well. And when tourism does well, the economy does well, and we get jobs and opportunities for Bahamians. So we are very focused on relaxing the protocols. We want to ensure that we stay on the cutting edge of the industry as it relates to competitiveness and efficiency of travel. But at the same time, we want to ensure that we protect ourselves and we protect the Bahamian public.
Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell, who was in Belize attending the 33rd CARICOM Heads of Government meeting, revealed that Caribbean leaders are being urged to scrap travel restrictions completely. Mitchell said he is unsure which way the decision will go, but noted that Jamaica has already scrapped all of its travel restrictions except a requirement for a test 72 hours before travel. The tourism minister acknowledged the exhaustion with mask wearing and acknowledged that the pandemic isn't over.
The pandemic is not over. We have rebounded well in tourism. We do not want to do anything that impact this rebound. The reality of it is if we are able to contain case numbers, our CDC levels will improve, and therefore we will enhance the quality of life and the progress in tourism that we're trying to get.
Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Okay. Still... Well, we will see. I don't know if it's clear at all, if it's just a hotel tourism thing that they're considering there. But we will see. Hopefully, we'll get clarity soon. A couple more messages before we go to the break. This text says here, good morning. Rules are rules, but facts, masks don't work. Oh, okay. Another one here. I don't understand the problem with discriminating against Bahamians with mask mandates. None of this was based on any science, so why stop now? Lordy.
Okay, so you know what? No,
let me just finish the text message. There.
Not going to get pulled into it.
We'll come back. Let me just get through the text. This person says that public health is not based on what one segment of the population wants. That's the anti-definition of public. At the very least, our public health system should never be based on what some non-Bahamian group wants. Not trying to win an argument. I'm saying if you want to change something.
You are trying to win an argument. Also, you're incorrect.
Arguments.
Yeah, I mean, also, you're incorrect because name one single thing that every person, not in the world, not even in the Bahamas, in your family agrees on, I bet your family can't even agree on all the letters of the alphabet. I bet they cannot agree on whether or not Y is a vowel. There's nothing, because that's not how humans work. We don't work with 100% consensus, because if we did, we would move nowhere. Yeah. And we wouldn't even move to the point of getting to the point of saying we need 100% consensus, because we'd know, good God, who is on the board? Whoever's on the board.
No. Okay, and this, we got to go to the break. But hey, the caller said that we got to live our life. So, okay. We'll be back with more of your messages and more of your views. Steve, you can share that. Just hold that thought right there. We'll get back to that right after the break. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio, 96.9.
That's right.
If you're looking to diversify your portfolio, chart a course for RF mutual funds, where you can get global returns through our suite of internationally invested funds. Get exposure in U.S., Asian, European, and emerging markets without central bank approval. And with financial services leader Morgan Stanley as the advisor of our international funds, you can benefit from RF's global connections. Set sail for international markets today by visiting rfgroup.com. RF. Money at work.
Drive happy with free fuel for a year with CIBC First Caribbean and Esso. Use your CIBC First Caribbean Visa debit or credit card to fuel up with $25 or over at any participating Esso service station, and you are automatically entered for a chance to win the grand prize and weekly prizes of $200 in fuel or cash. Offer runs until March 20th, 2022. Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more details. The Esso brand is a trademark of the ExxonMobil Corporation and is used under license.
It's over 5 years we've been here. Time to review our options.
CIBC First Caribbean. Home ownership is a big deal, so move on merrily with CIBC First Caribbean. Switch your mortgage, and you'll get half off the appraisal cost, commitment fee, and more. Enjoy up to US $10,000 toward your switching cost. A peaceful rest. Glad we moved to CIBC First Caribbean.
Merrily.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/move merrily for details.
Say ignore them till they fade away. Amazing they ungrateful after all the game I gave away. Safe to say I paved the way for you cats to get paid today. Still be wasting days away now had I never saved the day. Consider them my protege. How much I think they should pay? Instead of being gracious, they violate in a major way. I never been a hater. Still I love them in a crazy way. Some say they sold the yeah, you know they couldn't get work on Labor Day. It ain't that black and white. It has an area that's shaded gray. I'm west side anyway. Even if I left today and stayed away. Some move away to me.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Time for your first look at traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. Here's what's happening in your real-time traffic. Heavy traffic on Milo Butler Highway, as usual, from well south of Fire Trail up to Tonic Williams Darling Highway, the roundabout there. So you're going to be seeing that. And traffic's backed up along Fire Trail as well, eastbound to the roundabout with Milo Butler. Gladstone Road also busy for you, just north of the Gladstone Road Fire Trail intersection there. You can see that traffic in the northbound lanes. Tawny Glooms Darling Highway also seeing its share of traffic, especially westbound to the roundabout with Milo Butler Highway and eastbound to the roundabout with Bahamas Games Boulevard. Elsewhere, Carmichael Road, heavy traffic eastbound to the junction with Blue Hill Road, and Blue Hill Road is also busy from just south of St. Vincent Road all the way up to the intersection with Independence Drive, and also north of Robinson Road. You're going to be seeing that in the northbound lanes this morning as well. Then there's Independence Drive, which is backed up between the roundabouts with Blue Hill Road and East Street, mainly westbound, a portion eastbound as well. And the intersection with East Street and Soldier Road looking particularly congested this morning, especially northbound on East Street. And east of that intersection with Soldier Road heading to Windsor Place, you're going to be seeing heavy traffic there. Got a number of other hot spots, including Eastern Road, already the heavy traffic from Sans Souci all the way up to Johnson Road, westbound. Prince Charles Drive, various pockets there, especially near Elizabeth Estates and with the intersection with Fox Hill Road. And the intersection with Soldier and Robinson Road. And Bernard, westbound, heading to that very congested intersection with Soldier, Wolf Village, and Bernard. And northbound on Marathon as well. So you're going to be seeing some very heavy traffic this morning. Good luck to you. That's your real-time traffic in the Morning Blend Traffic Alert, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. We'll take a break and be back with more Morning Blend after these messages.
It's a new day. Wake up. It's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up. It's a new day.
Paying your share of the bill? Done! Music subscription? Renewed.
Hey, happy birthday.
Someone's birthday? Take care of it. Your life is online and so is your bank. With CIBC First Caribbean, there are many ways to send money. You can use FirstPay to transfer money to other CIBC First Caribbean clients instantly, like when you're splitting the dinner bill. And FirstSend lets you transfer funds internationally. You can even set up recurrent payments with our mobile app to pay subscriptions, rent, and bills. Choose the best in digital banking so you can live your best life. Best in digital banking based on number of products and services.
Speed doesn't come easy. It takes your investment in your goals, your time, your full effort, full dedication. And when you think you've done enough, do it again. It takes precision, not just doing it, but doing it as best as possible. Day in, day out. And just like BTC, I will stop at nothing to make the people of the Bahamas stand up and cheer. That's what fuels me and why I'm a proud ambassador of BTC. Because we share a common desire to elevate your internet experience so you elevate everything you do with it and make it the best it can be. Switch to BTC Superfast Internet and elevate what's next.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Traveling around the world, infecting men, women, boy, and girl, causing folks to quarantine. I'm talking about COVID-19. Coronavirus, you're a pest. You've got this world in a mess. Like a lethal weapon in the dark.
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Stephen Hanna on this Friday morning. We played that song like all year long last year. I think we may actually retire it today. Could it? I mean, I hope we're not talking too prematurely. I mean, two, the latest dashboard, there are two cases. Right? Could it? Right? That's amazing, right? And last week, I think there was a day with 3. and the highest it's been is in the teens. I know we've had similar lulls like this, and then we came back. Remember Omicron? But could it be? Could it be the end? Stephen, you were saying it. I mean, it might be. It might be. Let's hope. Let's hope. Hey, yeah, we are seeing this as an accident, it seems, on Blue Hill Road. So keep that in mind if you're there. Normally, we don't see that much traffic north of the Independence Drive roundabout, but there's something happening there near Yellow Elder Primary, and so in the northbound lanes there, so you might want to avoid the area until that gets sorted out. And it's the northbound traffic there on that you can only go northbound in that part of Blue Hill Road, and so it's difficult for people to get around the accident, from what we're being told. So keep that in mind. Okay, I think Steven's on mute. Yep. All right, let's get that together. A few more of your messages here before we go to the news, and we've got a lot more to talk about after the news break. But this person says here, all mandates need to be dropped. Oh, you're back. Yep.
I was always here, but I was saying that you can retire the song whether or not COVID is gone. I don't know if that song is bringing us any help. I think maybe I was wrong. Maybe that's the thing we all can agree on. Retire that song.
Hey, man. Love Phil Stubbs. What?
All
What? Is he
1.5
playing it again?
songs.
Oh, dear. This is the final one. The final time. Okay. Let me read this as we go to the news. See, someone says, no, that song is a jam. Oh, boy. This text here, all mandates need to be dropped. People can make their own choice. If you want to wear masks, then do so. Even if you want to be locked down, you can stay at home. Why are these politicians, somebody wants to be locked down? Yeah, why are these politicians continuing to promote COVID as a pandemic when it's not anymore? Yeah, you sure? It seems that they want to keep it and keep people in fear. Let's get on with life and stop allowing fear to control decisions. Okay. This person says they want to get that bet on about the peso and the health. Okay. Well, we'll see. This one says here, I don't know if you guys have been following U.S. news, but Pfizer's only just now being forced to release their data on the vaccines. The raw data was never released for the vaccines, according to the prestigious science journal in the UK. Also, the CDC admitted to withholding COVID data to push the vaccine because the data may have caused people to draw different conclusions concerning the vaccine. Science did not play a role here. Emotions did. And that message, no, Bay, Stephen, that song is a jam. You can't retire it. Hey, we'll be back after the news. Listen to this. It might be the last time.
You're such a killing machine. COVID-19, COVID-19, an enemy that remains unseen.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. Now at 8:22, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Here's what's happening. We've got a high pressure across the country. That's going to generate moderate north to east breezes across the islands today. There also remains a moderate risk of rip currents along north and east coast beaches. For today, for all areas, look for partly sunny, warm, and breezy conditions with a chance of scattered showers, turning mainly fair and breezy tonight with a passing shower or two possible. Small craft operators should exercise caution. Temperatures getting up to around 82 Fahrenheit, 29 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down about 66 Fahrenheit, 19 Celsius. In your extended outlook, strong high pressure will build across the area, resulting in hazardous boating and beaching conditions across the islands through the weekend. So for tomorrow, Saturday, partly sunny, warm, and very windy, with a chance of a few brief passing showers during the day. Windy and mild at night with a stray shower or two possible. Small craft advisory will be in effect. Boaters are urged to remain in port, and beachgoers should stay out of the water. Don't go swimming. Sunday, partly sunny, warm, and windy with the chance of a few brief passing showers during the day. Windy and mild at night with a stray shower possible. Small craft advisory will still be in effect, and boaters again will be urged to remain in port, and beachgoers should again stay out of the water. That's your warning for the weekend, but that's your morning blend weather check brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. What's first for you comes first for us. $8:24 the time for another check of your traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. That accident we told you about on Blue Hill Road looks like it's still causing some issues there, some backups near Yellow Elder Primary, near Celery Drive. You're gonna, if you can, avoid that area if you want. You really will want to. That's just north of the Blue Hill Road roundabout. Blue Hill and Robinson. Yes, Blue Hill and Robinson Road, just north of that. So if you can, avoid that area. Try some of the side streets for now as they work to clear that scene. Elsewhere, we've got traffic backed up on Independence Drive, both directions, especially westbound to the roundabout with Blue Hill and eastbound to the roundabout with East-West Highway, East Street. And Blue Hill Road still seeing some heavy traffic near the junction with Carmichael Road and especially St. Vincent Road this morning. Then we've got Milo Butler Highway, as usual, heavy traffic well south of the Fire Trail roundabout all the way up to Tonic Williams Darling Highway, which is also backed up a bit there, westbound to that roundabout and eastbound to Bahamas Games Boulevard. Glass Road also looking busy just north of Fire Trail all the way up to JFK Drive. Fire Trail is seeing heavy traffic eastbound to the roundabout with Milo Butler Highway. Further south, Carmichael Road, also seeing issues there westbound to Coral Harbor Road and near the junction with Milo Butler Highway, and especially near Faith Avenue northbound, heavy traffic there, heading toward Carmichael Road. Busy morning in many spots, including on East Street, just looking messy on East Street and at the intersection with Soldier Road, especially for northbound travelers from well down to Bamboo Boulevard all the way up this morning. You're not going to be having fun on East Street. And Robinson Road, many spots. Traffic probably being diverted there, so there's a lot of traffic between Blue Hill Road and East Street, both directions. And many spots along Robinson Road, the major intersections, especially between Soldier and Old Trail, westbound mainly, and at that intersection with Marathon Road and East-West Highway. Marathon busy northbound too. Soldier continues with the heavy traffic up to the intersection with Village Road, Bernard Road, Wolf Road, and itself there. And Bernard is going to be busy for you westbound as well. Eastern Road, heavy traffic well east of San Souci all the way up to Johnson Road on the way to Montague. So westbound traffic on Eastern Road heavy this morning. Many hot spots. You might just want to wait till after 9 if you want to if you have to go somewhere today. That's your real-time traffic and your morning blend traffic alert, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. RBC Royal Bank. Check them out.
Lord, what it says. 6 cylinders will cry, 8 cylinders will die. When the gas go up, 4 cylinders will pass you by. Well, if you're driving a cube, if you're driving a note or a march or even a fit, raise your hand and say thank you, Father. For this 4-cylinder you bless me with. Let me tell you, if you're driving a Cube, if you're driving a Note, a Paso, or even a Swift, I'd praise your honor and say thank you, Father. For this 4-cylinder you bless me with. Yeah, gas is going up again. Thank God for my 4-cylinder. Up a D, up again. Oh Lord, gas gauges will be screaming murder. Price is gonna cause you to be amazed. Slunking on the light that can cause road rage. If they keep this up, gas won't get you far. The next move is an electric car. Well, if you're driving a Cube, if you're driving a Note or a March or even
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Stephen Hanna on this Friday morning. And if you're sitting in traffic and anything other than a 4-cylinder, boy, it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough out there. Okay. We want to move on. We've been talking about COVID and masks for most of the morning, but we do want to move on to some other issues in the news, including the return to face-to-face learning full-time. Officials are pushing for it, and especially with these encouraging numbers, hoping they can get back to that in the public school sector as soon as possible, maybe even before the end of the school year. For more on this, take a listen to this report from our Tashina Robinson.
A significant fall off in COVID-19 cases could mean all schools across the country will resume full face-to-face learning before the start of the next academic year. At least that's what the education minister would like to see happen.
Well, I hope so. I hope before that. But we're waiting to see when the green light comes. But we are anxiously waiting to get every child in the classroom on a full-time basis. That is our goal and our objective. We are guided by the Ministry of Health protocols, and we do have some challenges with teacher allocation. We're working on the teacher allocation, and once the Ministry of Health gives the green light, we will move towards, we will not move, children will go in full face-to-face immediately.
Public schools, which were overcrowded by pre-pandemic standards, are mostly hybrid. Student schedules are rotated, allowing them to be in person for a portion of the time and attend the remainder remotely in order to comply with COVID-19 social distancing protocols.
Because of these protocols, it creates space challenges. So if you want to obey the protocols, you can't have everyone in the classroom at one time. So as long as those protocols are in place, they will continue to place a challenge. But we are ready. The country is ready. The children are ready. And so as soon as the Ministry of Health says go for it, we're going for it. We get the children in the classroom.
Tashina Robinson with that report there. All right, so let's get your reaction to it. They're hoping that definitely by September for the new school year, this will be in place, but before, if possible. How do you feel? Are the schools ready for this? Are teachers prepared? Is everybody prepared? Are we in that frame of mind? What, if anything, would be barriers that need to be crossed here? Let's talk. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. So, many parents are saying, hallelujah, yes, let's do this as quickly as possible. But as you have heard, even with not full-time face-to-face learning, the traffic situation in New Providence is worse than ever before, it seems. Are we ready for this? Entirely. Yes, we want the kids to not be at home and not be clowning around and wasting time in a virtual platform. But infrastructure-wise, in terms of schools and just the island in general, are we ready? Let's hear what you have to say.
So one of my issues is, this stems specifically from the fight, but it applies to all the various things that are going on presently. we like to focus on just the tip or the end of it, but like that's a multi-ministry issue, that traffic thing. And on this show, multiple times, we've talked about we need to have what's the thing called? Public transportation. All right. If we had real public transportation, although the gas crisis would hurt us, or the impending gas crisis would hurt us, it wouldn't hurt us as much if all of us didn't have to fill up our car with gas and all drive to the same side of the island in the morning and then back home in the evening. And when schools open up, it wouldn't be, oh no, now there are more people on the road. Like it wouldn't be that. But I feel like even with the whole thing with the students fighting, that's not an education problem. Because education is
we'll
where
get to that story for those who aren't familiar with it in a moment. But yeah,
no, I'm just saying, like all these things, like we're looking at it when everything is on fire, but nobody's looking at the fact that, oh, it's a house with matches in it, and also this person is stockpiling gunpowder. So like, there's a lot. A lot of people also need to sound in from other ministries to say, oh, we're doing this. And all of those things collectively will alleviate this problem. It just so happens that these things keep on trickling down to education or healthcare or the road or something. Like that's where it trickles down to.
Yeah. Okay. As you said, we'll get to that fight in just a second. But I want to get your reaction to this. Give us a call. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. A number of the private schools are moving to full-time, have started that transition, and more over the next few weeks will be doing so. But let's get your reaction. Good morning, caller. You are on Morning Blend. Caller, good morning. Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can.
Oh, good morning. How you doing?
Doing well.
Man, try for God's sake, get these children back in school, man. I mean, the home thing ain't working. Some of the children into the computer. Some parents are disciplined. Some parents have weakness in their discipline. Let's try to get these children back in school. Let's try to save what we can save. Right?
Okay.
We don't want to lose majority of them. So, look, you get them. Why wait till September? Put them in school now. Why wait till September, right?
No, they have to make sure they have the protocols, they have the spacing that's required, the sanitization,
the teachers,
so many things.
They have to make sure they have the teachers.
I mean, bad planning. Shouldn't you plant it from the government was in power from what? September of last year, eh?
Yes.
Okay. Uh-huh.
What the Ministry of Education was doing from that time.
Well, I mean, they were trying to deal with what they were trying to deal with. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of factors in play, as Stephen's been saying.
Boy, like you named a lot of those things, a lot of those factors, because I think it's high time, it's quick as possible. I would say by May, let's get these children in school.
Well, at that point, then it won't make any sense. The school year is done, right?
Well, yes, you're talking about the summertime, right? Let's extend the summer. And education.
Okay, well,
that's important to me. That's how I feel, how important knowledge is. And the more we linger, I'm afraid.
How high are you willing for the government to take VAT up so that you can pay teachers more and that we can have the resources inside schools?
How high?
Yeah, like can we go to 15% VAT so that we can afford it?
Well, we could do some non-VAT
no.
things.
I'm asking because he said he's very serious about it. So I just want to know how serious he is, if he's willing to put his money where his mouth is.
Well, it doesn't have to be VAT.
No, but if it were VAT, would you be willing to pay 15% VAT so that we could pay teachers a livable, proper salary?
But they're better ones than VAT, though. Better than VAT.
Dwight, you're missing the question.
No. That's very important. It doesn't have to be VAT.
Because then you're saying that the answer is no.
No, Stephen, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it doesn't have to be VAT. We could do some other taxes.
Okay. But
yeah, let's hear what you have to say.
VAT is no.
That's the lazy one to do, VAT.
Right. Is the lazy Stephen, you said?
Yes, it is, Stephen.
Oh, God, Stevie, doing you bad. I took this morning, sorry. Stevie, I'm willing to go 15%.
Thank you. See that? That's all.
Are you willing to go 15%?
Sure, they could take 50% of my salary.
That's that's different. That's different from what you just said. That right? So maybe income tax. That's what you're saying.
Right, how much you willing to do?
Again, I don't think it should be
15%
VAT.
I'm willing to pay whatever it takes to make this country run properly.
Okay. Well, I would need to make sure that everybody is paying what they're supposed to pay, and not just me.
Of course.
So no, there's no of course in it. That's not how we work at all right now. But VAT is not the answer. Not for that.
I'm not suggesting it is.
Okay.
I was just asking.
But
in
let's
a
keep
worst case scenario.
How
willing?
What type
how
of
willing
taxes?
are you to go?
You know, an easy one that would be less lazy than VAT would be the lottery, as we've been saying before, right? Much less lazy. But there are all many other ways they could do it. They could, but not VAT. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. VAT is not no. Good morning. You're on the air. Hi.
Sparky, I don't understand, right? No matter what we do around this country, people always got to go against the grain. I've heard the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Education, the Teachers Union, everybody since pandemic came in, been trying to get the children back to school. Even when the FNM was there, they was worrying about the children going back to school. The Minister of Education just said they wait until all the protocols are in place, the teachers, and they get the okay from the Ministry of Health before we put them back there. You know how easy it is for a bunch of children in the room to start the pandemic up all over again? It only takes one or two people getting sick again and start all over, numbers start to rise again. And people still coming in wonder, but let's get the children back to school. Okay, let's put them all back to school, all back in the class, and start the pandemic again and shut down the country again. Why can't we just wait till the people who are in charge get it right and get the children back in school safely? Tell Ponkanita them sit down and have a good day. Come on.
Okay. Okay, let's take another call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. How you doing?
Doing well.
Morning, Steven. Now, let me try and make my input where I can know I wake up early and I be doing 1,000 different things. Now, let me, the issue with the students back in school, fine. For years, for the past 15 years, I was saying, let's get this lotto. Dwight, I got some stuff. I got one more copy. I can try to do some copies and give one to you. I can give one to Dwight and probably some others. I can give it to all the members of Parliament again and the so-called elites in this country. See, I had it like this. I drafted it like this. $1 billion for what, right? And these monies, for the lotto, and these money were earmarked now. See, and a good example of that is the owned airport and Canadian Point, that's one of the best airports in this region. Well kept, government in the fair and intervening. Earmarked $250 million for youth, sports, and culture. All that fiasco they had with the athletes saying get no water and think they get a land, that's wrong. Earmarked $250 million for NHI. So any sickness you get, the money there, they take care of our people. Earmark another $250 million, go and pay down the debt. Earmark another $250 million to go in the consolidated funds to help the development of our family of island. That didn't sound like sense. Taken has got 86,000 people and they got a lot of. So I don't want to buy them, but it can't work in business. That's their business. It's called competing capitalism. And Dwight, and I listened to you this morning with the guy who in charge of Bahama saying the two of them saying Mars and Mars. Right, fine. I travel with my Mars and everything. See, but my baby people, Dwight, you all are the future. You all are the 1970s should be me people. See that Joshua people, they didn't fail us. They failed us. They gave us all our land. They didn't fail us. They didn't fail me. They failed my older set of children. We can't allow them to fail. But let's say if we don't fight this country, then they don't deserve our habit. Yeah, that's again, the American people tell us now, this Spanish American, whatever he is, telling us, see, everybody tells us what to do. See, that's our problem. And that's why I see the BME people, I think we did the bottom line in this country, everybody got more say in this country than us, man. BME people, we need to start and fight, man. That's why, and thanks for taking my call, man.
Okay. I don't think they were telling us what to do. They're just suggesting, but Bahamians have been saying it too. And when Bahamians say it, they don't get on the front page of the papers. But when others do, they do. So sometimes you need to hear from the others. But there are groups here. They're on this show all the time saying the same thing. But people pay attention when it's from the outside, right? So, oh well. All right. Let's get to the fight that you heard Stephen mention there. And do we need to be concerned about this when we return to face-to-face learning? That was probably the only benefit of virtual learning. There weren't fights and brawls and stabbings and killings and horrible things happening with students in school, at least. But once we return to this, my God.
Dwight, do you remember when we used to have all those lockdowns in the long time ago, the distant past, and how there was this point where it's like, crime has dropped dramatically because, of course, nobody is outside to interact with each other, so nobody is killing each other. I mean, there was still, of course, the silent and violent and horrible crimes that happen domestically inside of a house, but outside, the horrific ones that make the front page of the newspaper weren't happening. And then they let everybody outside, and people was like, I got to use these bullets before they expire. A bunch of people got shot. That's because people need to know how to interact with each other. I hear you saying that one of the benefits of virtual learning was that we didn't have this, but that is only temporary, because eventually these people would have to interact with each other when they graduate school and they become adults. And if they don't know how to get that interaction underway, how to not just problem solve, but like deal with disagreeing with somebody face to face, this is an inevitability. So if anything, virtual learning has probably made this worse, because you can't in real life put your Zoom call on mute and walk away while somebody's talking foolishness. You can't like disengage and go watch something on Netflix while the person running on. You can't just unplug your computer and say,
Yeah, I want to get to the report for those who don't know what we're talking about.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, this has probably been made worse because being a teenager,
socialization issues, absolutely. Let's get to the report, then we can come back in and talk about it. This report from our Jasmine Brown. All right, we're having some, as we said to you, major problems today, and we've got, I think our computer has given up the ghost. All right, so there's a brawl. It looks like it's through many students attacking somebody at A.F. Adderley Junior High, a girl, and it's other girls beating her. There's a video, and it's insane. It's crazy. And the minister was responding to this, talking about that. How this is not acceptable, and I guess discipline came up as well, and how physically disciplining people leads to this type of behavior as well, and how this is this spiral. This is just this vicious circle just continues on and on and on. In this manner. So, let's continue with what you were saying, Stephen. We're having a problem with socialization. We had one before this, and now that people don't know how to interact, especially young people, often with others, it'll only get worse when we put everybody back into a face-to-face environment. Are we prepared for those challenges? When someone says something you don't like, right? Will a young person know the best way to walk away from that situation, or will the anger just get the better of them? Let's talk about it. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. All right. So, what do we do? What do we do, Stephen?
So I was saying that a lot of times what we only notice is the violent extreme outgrowths of this sort of thing. But if you look around, there's a lot of anxiety, and I don't want to say anxiety and depression, but a lot of anxiety where a person don't know how to interact in group settings or normally without the assistance of drugs and alcohol. Because like you go out now that we are allowed to go out, people are still like face deep inside their screens, inside their phones, as it is. And so imagine now as a child whose brain hasn't finished fully developing, you have to interact, and the only thing that you have to reference is all of the stuff, the videos that you've been ingesting while you've been locked away for the past 2 years. You know, it's like, this is not a surprise that this would be the outcome. So the sooner we do get back to face, I feel like that may help to address some of this. But at the same time, you know, you have to balance that with the reality of what the school system is right now.
All right. Let's get more of your reaction again. This text here, what are you guys talking about? I'm a teacher, so I am well informed about the matter. There are only a few schools that do not have full-time face-to-face learning. You guys make it sound like it's an abundance of schools. Well, okay. I don't know exactly what you mean. No, I don't think this person's correcting us. So, the minister also is talking, they're not full-time. They have, it's a hybrid system that's in place. I don't know if you're talking about the private schools, but that's not, we're talking about the public schools here, right? So what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Okay, whatever. This person says here, Dwight, you have to correct the ignorance that speaks on your show, specifically people like Sparky. The science and research concludes that children under 16 are least likely to contract and transmit COVID-19. Okay, but I don't think everything he said was incorrect there, right? There's you do run the risk. There are more people who are going to be together, and that is likely how you get things spreading. I mean, beyond COVID, other things as well, right? And you might not get sick from it, but you might be able, their teachers are going to be in the classroom, right? So the teachers are going to be interacting with people who might not get sick from it, but they might, and they will pass it along. So there are things that you have to keep in mind. Dwight and Stephen, I'm not willing to pay 1 cent more in taxes, and I have lots of 1 cent pieces. I do not believe that our problem is just a lack of funding. Our problem is one of who we are allowing to spend the money we have. Those who have been spending our money in the past decades have had a political objective and not a rational objective. That is why we can see the amount of money we have spent, but cannot see what is spent on what it's spent on. Okay.
Okay. Sure. Right. Yeah. Halfway. I mean, I agree with accountability for what the money is being spent on. But here's the thing. There are some people in society that we are very willing to pay fairly. And there are some people that we need in society that we're like, well, you should have picked a better job if you wanted to get paid more money. And when you see that happening, what you're going to end up with is a migration of the people who can leave, and that area, that vacuum being filled with people who are just doing it for the money, not doing it for the love, not doing it out of passion, and then you get a poorer result in the end of it. And that doesn't just apply to education, that applies to every sector of society. Whether you go to the hospital and you're like, boy, this nurse really don't care about me. Well, we don't really treat medical people too well over here. All right? It's like, oh, I don't like this news story. Well, you should treat the media differently, maybe pay them better. That applies across the board. Every time you see a mass migration, ask yourself the question, how well are we treating that person?
I'm not sure what that has to do with this. Let's take
go ahead.
Let's take a break. When we come back, more on this one, get your reaction to it. This is Morning Blend on a truly freaky Friday on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're going to be back after this. Stay with us.
Wake up, it's a new day.
in relationship banking. We take pride in getting to know our clients. You have access to knowledgeable, approachable ambassadors and financial coaches so that we can recommend the best product for you. At Fidelity, we care about you. From your financial health to your physical
so
health.
whose problem is
we can relate to you because we're just like you. Come and start your relationship banking experience with us today. Visit us online at fidelitygroup.com. Visit any of our branches in Nassau or Grand Bahama, or phone 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 for Freeport.
There's only one way to have a better morning. How? Start your mornings the best way with our 2 for $6 breakfast sandwiches at Wendy's. For a limited time, choose any 2 of your favorite breakfast sandwiches, including the fresh Strachan sack muffin, honey buttermilk chicken biscuit, double sausage muffin, or the sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit. Wash it all down with our cold brew shake or coffee. Better mornings always start at Wendy's. Wendy's, different inside and out. Excludes airport locations.
Earning zero interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Drive happy with free fuel for a year with CIBC First Caribbean and Esso. Use your CIBC First Caribbean Visa debit or credit card to fuel up with $25 or over at any participating Esso service station, and you're automatically entered for a chance to win the grand prize and weekly prizes of $200 in fuel or cash. Offer runs until March 20th, 2022. Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more details. The Esso brand is a trademark of the ExxonMobil Corporation and is used under license.
Maria is going away to college and she needs access to money, but I'm worried about her spending. Maybe I can create an alarm that goes off every time she overspends. Or I'll just move in with her. Hi, Rumi. Or just get RBC Credit Share, the RBC credit card feature that allows you to easily and safely share funds with family members for free. And you set the spending limit so you're always in control. Find out more at rbc.com/Caribbean/credit share. Special conditions apply.
It's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way.
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan and Stephen Hanna. It's been a challenging morning for us here, having some issues with our stuff, but we're trying to sort it out. All right, so we are talking about the aggression that we're seeing in schools, and if we're likely to have major problems once we get everybody back in school face-to-face, what we can do about that. We're still not able to get that report up. Yeah, let's listen to this report and then we'll talk a little more about it. Good morning. This report is from our Jasmine Brown.
To the issue on the sidelines of the Ministry of Education's second curriculum launch. She spoke in a video that showed a young girl dressed in an AF Adderley Junior High School uniform being surrounded and beaten by several other female students as dozens of other students looked on screaming and cheering.
We have to ensure that there is a no tolerance level for violence on school campuses. That's the first principle. Secondly, we have to see how we can cause for our young people to be able to resolve whatever their issues are without resorting to that type of conduct.
Hannah Martin says while it's still unclear what led to the beatdown, she believes it may have been a result of bullying.
Bullying in this day and age has serious consequences. Your hair looks a certain way. If you're a little heavy on it, doesn't matter. Every child has the right to be and to be on that campus, to be and to be on that campus. And we will seek to foster respect for every person, regardless of any issue that differentiates one from another.
The education minister says there has been an intervention in that particular case, but adds that the ministry is looking at broader strategies. When asked to address the issue of corporal punishment in schools, Hannah Martin said this.
Well, I'm speaking personally now. I don't see where using violence on children is going to help any circumstance or situation. I'm not an advocate of that. I think we have to help our children to grow up healthy, respectful, strong, courageous. I don't advocate violence in any shape or form. I'm not against young people. I support discipline and even punishment in terms of that component of discipline. But I do not personally support the use of violence against young people to coerce conduct or behavior.
Reporting for Guardian News Network, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Okay. The corporal punishment issue is a hot one as well. But yeah, what will that solve in a situation like this? And are those things likely to escalate a situation? We're getting some interesting text messages here. Someone says here, I think those fights start with smaller things like microaggression, like calling people silly and stupid. You know what I mean, Dwight? Like the words you use to describe some of your callers. Well, it is what it is. A text here, I'm a public school student. I'm telling you, 98% of the public schools are face-to-face full-time. I'm telling you, not asking. The minister is talking about the 2% of schools. Okay. A whole bunch of kids who are in school 2 and 3 days a week only. So I don't know if that's full-time. Now, maybe the teachers are there full-time, but some of the students aren't there every day. So we have different definitions of what full-time means. This person says here also, do you feel safe about how the government is planning on removing the mask mandate because people over the world are acting as if COVID no longer exists? Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's how we got the mandates that we have now, though.
Okay. Another one here. Unfortunately, trying to tame wild animals. What now?
Whoa.
Why? Oh, boy. Requires a multifaceted approach. Truth be told, sometimes you can only get through to them in the only language they seem to understand, violence.
You realize, anyway. Okay.
Well,
it's like,
yeah.
If the person is right when they consider that it's a form of communication and language, but I think that they are putting it backwards,
it's backwards.
And they're assuming that that innately that children inside the public school only speak violence, when the truth is society as a whole speaks violence. And the children just, I guess this is the language that we speak.
It's not just the public schools. So,
I'm saying to that tactic, because clearly that's what they meant. They're not talking about private schools.
Well, okay. But yeah, they understand violence, the language they understand, as Stephen's saying, because that's the language we speak to them more than anything else.
Right.
Violence before love and affection and
but it's not just like blindly just like love and affection with no no structure, but also part of the issue is when you get to a point where the only thing that you've ever taught a person to do to handle a situation is to scream and to hit something, then even if they don't do it in school or at work, they're going to do it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like that's how you are teaching persons to communicate. Because you're saying, if somebody does something to offend you, don't explain it to them, get a stick and hit them. If somebody says, well, I want to do this way, and they do something that way, instead of you saying, well, this is why we do it this way, and X, Y, and Z, get a stick and hit them, raise your voice at them, yuck them up by the collar, and throw them off the bus. If that is what we are teaching somebody who's 15, when that person is 20 and they do the same thing and then they get charged with assault, it's your fault.
Mm-hmm. And this text as we get ready to break for news headlines. Fighting and bad behavior here again. Enforcement of rules and personal responsibility is lacking or permeates society, unfortunately. Okay. Yeah, we got a lot of work to do in that regard. We're going to break for news headlines. When we come back, we're going to talk about that issue about unapproved subdivisions and people who have conveyances in them and the warning about checking that out so that you don't end up like some other people have in the country. We're going to talk with two lawyers who went to the Privy Council to argue a case on this and what you need to do if you're in a situation like this. That's coming up in Morning Blend Business and Justice just a bit right after news headlines. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
You always start using precedents from other countries, and then you adapt it to the needs of the Bahamas. And so I suspect that with so many complications, and every week there's some different complications when it comes to purchasing land and developing land, et cetera, I think with the fact that this happens so frequently, I think that we have to get to the point of land registration sooner than later.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, caller. Let's take another one. Good morning, caller. You're on Morning Blend.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi.
And your guest. Now, that lady, the law is 7 feet. A house might be 7 feet from her boundary. So each house might be 14 feet apart. That's the law. And the other way you see me, people put their wall right on the road. It's 10 feet. It's government property, but everybody lot, it's 10 feet. People put the wall on the stakes. No make your lot look great. Put it on the wall. Cover your house. They park it in the main road. The law is 10 feet of your yard. It's government property to put pipes. So I said that needs to change. And also, I'm Dwight. When people starting lots, it's like our IPOs. Like when people first develop, that's our time to buy cheap lots. If you look at Winton Heights in '85, the White Clouses sold it off for $40,000. My mother bought 4. Now they weigh $200,000 a piece. But it's a risk you take. So, like, they ain't poor, so they could back their thing. It's something that happened. In '92, I bought a property in Love Estate. I sold the site plan, paid half down, $40,000. I paid half down, $20. I lost $20,000 because find out Simba Holdings did not own the land. So now, and the man died last year. Wow. So I just learned and move on.
It's very risky. Thank you very much. We hear stories like that all the time.
The moral to the story of the moral to the gentleman's story, though, is that you never pay down on a piece of land. You never pay it either directly to the seller. You pay it to your attorney.
Yeah.
And your attorney then negotiates the sales agreement with the seller's attorney, and the purchaser's attorney then searches the title. If you find that the seller doesn't own the property, the deal is off and you get your deposit back.
Right. There are a lot of people who think they're getting a one up on the whole system if they do it directly.
And not only that, you have these people who sell a good game.
Yeah.
Man, give me the deposit, man. Everything cool, whatever the case may be. And the unsuspecting purchaser, like you said, thinking he's getting a better deal, goes ahead and passes the money many times to their peril.
Yeah. So we're going to have to reiterate that later in the show so people get that. So avoid it if the seller's insisting.
Not avoid. Never.
Never
do it.
Never
do it.
And the seller's insisting, red flags.
Never.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. I've heard people say, I don't want to give the real estate agent or any lawyers any money or commission. I'm going to do this directly. But you're going to get yourself in trouble.
Yes.
Go on. Okay. Let's take another call. Good morning, caller. You're on Morning Blend Business.
Along with you and your panel, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
Okay, we need justice, law, and order in this country. But I have a question for the lawyers. If a situation happens whereby the person who bought the property have conflict, right?
Have what? Complaints?
Conflict.
Oh, conflict.
Yeah, conflict, and government gives them the right to live on the premises, right? The thing is, when the conflict comes to fruition, and government supposed to pay that person restitution?
That's a very wide question. It depends on the nature of the conflict and the nature of the permission that they got.
Take, for instance, like Levan Miller. And government supposed to pay him restitution?
Whether they should, I mean, that's a question for Ramon to decide if he wants to pursue it. But I mean, he was inconvenienced significantly, but thank God now he's okay. He's straight. Everything is sorted out, and he and his family are happy. But he was put to inconvenience, yes.
It's going to be tricky since they're the ones who caused the conflict in the first place, right?
Yes,
So
exactly.
okay, but maybe if it were a different situation, I don't know. Wow. Some text messages coming in here. I too own a property in Ocean Heights in Exuma. What should I do at this time?
Oceana Heights is different. Our matter was dealing with February Point. That's subdivision called February Point. The same original developers, but our matter was a different subdivision.
But in any event, they should talk to their lawyer.
Yes,
I suspect.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Some other concerns that you might have from what you're seeing with land ownership here that you hope when the government seeks to address the subdivision matter, they will look at that as well. We've talked about the land registry, but are there other things that need to be addressed once and for all this time?
I think,
Christina?
What is happening, and as Obi alluded to, more than likely they will have to pass legislation to validate these conveyances caught in the recent ruling, the Malik Momin ruling from the Privy Council. However, we have to get to a firm position, because if we constantly just give developers a slap on the wrist for not having the relevant infrastructure in place, then we'll never solve this problem. And there will forever be innocent purchasers purchasing properties with no infrastructure. And so, that's my concern, that the developers, they need to be held accountable for this problem to have some sort of resolution. I think you asked Obi earlier, I don't know if it was addressed, but Obi is really the expert in conveyancing. Yeah. So I yield to him in all points of this in this area. But it is extremely expensive in most cases for the developers to obtain subdivision approval. And in talking to a lot of persons, I think what the thought was, okay, so we have this huge parcel of land. Let's start dividing it up without subdivision approval, selling, and using the money that we get from the initial sale of, say, the first 10, 20 lots to start now putting in. I think Obi can say more about it, but I think a bond is required.
Yes.
And it is significant. And so I think, that's the area there. So maybe something can be looked at to the effect of requiring these developers to have the money in place before they even get to the subdivision and all of that. But that's the issue, because the expense, it isn't that the developers just don't want to do it. It costs a pretty penny to do so. And so the law also needs to address that aspect of it and not just focus on whether we're going to validate these conveyances or how we're going to deal with that.
That's going to be very tricky, Piddling, sorry. Let's talk more about that and what can be done.
Again, at the end of the day, it boils down to enforcement. Okay, the law has always been there that doing this was a criminal offense. Anytime there's an infringement of the law, there's either a civil remedy or a criminal remedy. These subdivision statutes, as I call them, had criminal penal provisions in them. Okay, many times you have some developers who do this. I want to use the broad term, innocently, even though the general legal point is ignorance of the law is no defense. But then you have, on the other hand, those unscrupulous developers who know what the law is. The law has been brought to their attention, and they still choose to ignore it and to proceed, to the peril of innocent purchasers who have invested thousands of dollars in purchasing a piece of property, and in many instances even building, only to find out later down the road, I can't get my occupancy certificate, I can't get my this, I can't get no light, I don't have no light to get, I have no water connection to my house because there's no infrastructure here in my area. That's the difficulty, the unscrupulous ones. And if government keeps just amending the law to protect the innocent purchasers, as they ought to, as Christina said, allowing the evil-minded persons to keep getting away with a slap on the wrist and no repercussions, that means it's going to continue to happen. And somewhere down the road later, something else is going to happen, and then the government is going to have to amend the law again to rectify whatever problems have now been created by the continued unscrupulous actions of some of these developers.
What should that punishment take? What form should that take? What do you suggest needs to
Well,
be done?
the present law speaks to it. I think it's a fine will be of $20,000,
significant fine.
and or I think it's 2 or 3 years or imprisonment.
Mm-hmm.
So this, but oddly enough, I practice in the criminal courts, to a large extent. I've never seen a prosecution of this nature. I can't say one doesn't exist, but I've never seen a developer being prosecuted for, under the Planning and Subdivisions Act. It's not happening.
Let me take this to another level, and this is going to open up a whole new can of worms, so please don't call on this point. But as Christina said, she practices in the criminal court. As you know, I'm in the music industry. Infringement of copyright also has criminal penal provisions in the Copyright Act. If you go and take my music and use my music or my movie or my book or my manuscript or whatever without my permission, there are criminal provisions. I can file a criminal complaint against you. You can be taken before the criminal court, and if found guilty, you have to pay significant fines. But you never see them. You never see them run the courts. Now, mind you, when Christina was addressing another issue some months ago when we were talking about domestic abuse, in order for the matter to come before the court, there has to be a complaint. So the person who's affected by these things have to go and take it to the police and file the official complaint for the matter to come to court.
Wow. Call in 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us 422-4796. How long have you seen in your experience the longest a matter like this will be unresolved where there is no subdivision approval and people are waiting? I mean, Ramon's case sounds like it's been going on for a very long time, but I'm sure there's some that have been longer.
Malik Moment, I think, Obi, was from 2008. 2008 was the purchase.
Agreement in 2008.
He
finished
had,
his payments
in 2013. And from there to now, 2013 to 2022, we finally have a resolution, on paper that is, of this issue.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
It is.
Wow. Let's take this call. Good morning. You are on the air.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi.
Good morning to your learned guests.
Morning.
Morning.
We appreciate you all bringing out this information. The thing is, I just have a question because I was always confounded as to the procrastination and if this quieting titles act, which I call the quieting teething act, is that still in existence? And what is the government doing to get rid of this particular problem as far as generational properties and empowering the Beeman people? Because it seems to me as if there's an agenda to disenfranchise the Beeman people and then, through oblivion, just confiscate people's land and sell it to foreigners. Just comment on it for me, please.
I don't deal with quietings, but what I do know of quietings, again, when the Quieting Titles Act was first enacted, it was enacted with honorable intentions to try to solve problems that innocent persons would have suffered. Unfortunately, too many unscrupulous persons have come and utilized the Quieting Titles Act for nefarious means, basically stealing people's land. And I agree with you, something has to be done. And I would venture to say that is another piece of legislation which really needs to be visited and to be modernized.
Absolutely. And the Privy Council said as much.
Yes.
Haven't they? And yet here we are still. One has to wonder what that's all about.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. We've got another call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Good. Okay. Call us back. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. But people hear these stories and they're quick to blame the lawyers in this. What do you say to that? Obviously, this is not necessarily a lawyer issue, but you all get the blame often. In these situations. What do you say about that?
When you say blame, I mean, are we being blamed now for the law, the conveyancing being in a state of flux?
Right. No,
is that what you mean?
You definitely can't get the blame for that.
I think
people
you mean
will say
in
lawyers,
the transactions.
just in general, the fact that these things happen, but people are quick to blame lawyers. What do you say to those folks?
Well, I think the purchaser, Obi can say more because he does conveyancing, but I think the purchaser's attorneys, there is an obligation upon them to ensure that good title to the property that their client is about to purchase, to ensure that is in place and produced. In circumstances where, and something, I think the ruling would have spoken to, a part of this good title is subdivision approval. So in an instance where the purchaser's attorney fails and or refuses to ensure that subdivision approval is in place, yes, there can be repercussions for that attorney.
And the McIntosh case in the Supreme Court of the Bahamas was one such case.
Yes. And so sometimes, yes, you are right. Attorneys are to blame. Yeah.
So advice that you give, you already did some earlier, but more advice that you give to people looking to purchase land, purchase homes, build. What do you need to keep in mind? What do you need to have in front of you? What boxes do you need to check off before you move any further?
The most important one is to not try to do it on your own.
Yes.
Always find your own attorney. That's the most important thing, because you have many people out there who will sell you a bill of goods and saying, you don't need to do this, man. You don't need to do this. Just give me this deposit. We can go whatever. That's always tricky. And the reason why that's tricky is if it later turns out that the title to the property is no good, the whole purpose of when you sign a sales agreement, you pay a deposit. And the deposit is held pending the completion of the transaction. In the interim, the purchaser's attorney searches the title and does whatever due diligence is necessary to ensure that the person is getting what he's supposed to be getting. If it's found that that person doesn't have title to the property or that there's no subdivision approval and the purchaser has a legal right pursuant to the provisions of the agreement to cancel the agreement, he's supposed to get his deposit back. If you give that seller that deposit, you think he's putting that in any bank account sitting in escrow waiting for the transaction to finish? And like as Christina alluded to earlier, some persons use those funds to try to complete infrastructure in these different areas. Okay, but the whole point is having your attorney and having the deposit placed in escrow is for the benefit, for the most part, of the purchaser. Now, there's also provision where it can be for the benefit of the seller, because if the seller does have good title and has done everything that he's supposed to do in order to get the transaction to complete, and the purchaser still doesn't pay the balance of the purchase price, then the vendor can forfeit that deposit as his damages for the failure, that the purchaser's failure.
Wow. So I know this has come up quite a bit. Rent to own or you lease to own type situations. So this sounds like this is, especially if it's directly through the seller, this is something to be very cautious about.
Yes, you can be cautious, but again, never enter any real estate transaction without an attorney. Because even if you're going to do a lease to own transaction, and that is becoming very popular these days more and more, because of the difficulty that purchasers are having securing financing at banks. You just ensure that you have your legal representation so that the lease to own agreement has all the provisions in there to protect you.
Right. And I would add to what Obi said, make sure your attorney practices conveyancing and has experience in the area. For instance, me, I don't do any conveyancing matters. I refer all of that to Obi. I ended up with Malik Momin because I do the litigation side of things, and that's when Obi called me.
Because I do know litigation.
Yes. So do your homework.
Right.
Just don't go to any attorney.
Right.
Make sure you find an attorney who knows the practice of conveyancing well.
Yeah.
Such as Obi. Yes.
So this is a serious issue, right?
Very serious.
Your biggest purchase in life, more than likely.
Because the risk is there that you can lose your hard-earned money.
Yes. Your biggest investment often is property.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, as you say, do your homework.
Yes.
This text here, what are the laws for selling a property in a low-cost subdivision that is mortgage-free, has a conveyance, and has been satisfied? Property has additions and has been appraised. How do you sell the home?
If there's no subdivision approval.
Is that the point? Because there's no subdivision approval?
There shouldn't be an issue if it is, right?
If it's the subdivision approval, you can sell. If there's no subdivision approval and you attempt to sell, you would, one, be breaking the law, and two, any conveyance would be null and void. And so the purchaser, in essence, would be holding a blank piece of paper.
Today, because of the state of the law.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if that is the case, just wait till this is resolved.
Yes, I would say so.
Okay. Let's see if we can take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir. I have a question. I know a couple who purchased a piece of lot. They were never given the papers for the lot, but it was done through a particular bank. Payments have been made for over 4 years, and the owners of the property have never received the papers. And the bank is pursuing them for payment. So what can be done in that case?
If I understand you correctly, the purchasers bought the property by way of a mortgage through the bank?
Yes.
In that case, that means the bank would be holding on to the original papers.
They don't have it.
The bank doesn't have the original
Bank
papers?
doesn't have it.
That's something strange going on there. They're supposed to, if they have a mortgage, every time a purchaser goes and obtains a mortgage, the bank would send instructions to an attorney to prepare the mortgage on behalf of the bank. In order to prepare that mortgage, the attorney has to also secure the conveyance of the property from the seller to the buyers. And then the attorney uses that conveyance, which is the security or the collateral that the bank is going to hold when they lend the buyers the money. So they have to have land papers if they had already disbursed the funds, the mortgage funds to the buyers. So,
Something fishy there. No
pardon?
papers. There is something fishy there. There is no papers. And, of course, they were able to track down the lady who they purchased the property from. She said something that she has to do an affidavit of some sort.
Affidavit of loss, maybe, Obi?
It sounds like an affidavit of loss, but if there's an affidavit of loss, that presumes that there was a original document
Yeah, to begin
in existence to have been lost. So there's something missing from the story. There's something strange going on there. Based on what you're saying to me, ma'am, if there's a mortgage, the odds are that there were quote unquote papers. Now, whether they have been lost inside the bank, which is possible, but it doesn't mean that they didn't exist. If the mortgage funds have been disbursed and the purchasers use the mortgage funds to build their home and the home exists, then clearly it seems to suggest that those papers did exist at the time, but they may have been misplaced.
Well, no home has been built on the property yet. It's still there.
And then the other thing is, too, the documents should have been recorded.
Yes, definitely.
On the completion of the mortgage, the conveyance and the mortgage should have been recorded in the registry. So if there are no originals, they can go and do a search at the registry or have an attorney do a search for them at the registry and obtain certified copies of their documents. Yes. And then the affidavit of loss would attach those as exhibits to say that the originals have been lost, whether it's the bank that has misplaced them or whoever would have had the originals in their possession.
Yes. Okay, so hypothetically speaking, if they do a search at the registry, blah, 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 and they cannot find anything, can they sue the bank for doing that?
Well, there are legal repercussions. It depends on the facts. It's difficult to advise on, you don't have the full facts. Yes. But if that is the situation, then yes, they can contact someone like Christina to discuss the matter and get formal advice on it, and she would advise as to what steps could be taken at the time.
Yes.
Okay. Hope that works out for them. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, caller. All right. So we've got about a minute left. Again, what people need to be doing. There are lots of questions, it seems, when it comes to land issues, land ownership here, and some people really feel they're out in the wilderness, even when they have attorneys, sadly. But what more advice did you recommend for people to be doing?
It's difficult to say because many people already have relationships with their own attorneys. Yeah. And I'm not going to say that to anyone and say, you should not go to this person, or you should not go to this person, or you should go to this person. At the end of the day, the person that you consult, the obligation is upon him or her to do what is necessary to protect the client's interests.
Yeah. Christina Galanos.
I would just highlight, I recently purchased a piece of property on Dowsbell Street. I'm an attorney. And I actually hired a lawyer.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's just to underscore, I didn't feel comfortable doing it myself. I wanted someone who, had more knowledge in the area. Yep. So that's just to highlight and underscore how important it is to get a competent attorney in these circumstances.
Well, I guess most doctors wouldn't operate on themselves.
So true.
And the point, the bigger point that she is making, a lot of people assume that because you are a lawyer,
you do everything.
You experience in every area of the law. No. That's impossible.
Right.
Yes.
So many lawyers have niche practices where they, engage their practices in specific areas.
Yes.
Yeah. This has been a great conversation this morning. Thank you all so much. We need to do something more regular, it seems, for people that have lots of questions. But thank you very much for being here this morning and clearing this up. We hope this is resolved. Maybe when we get closer to seeing that legislation, you can come back and talk about that as well.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Christina Galanos and Obi Pendling this morning. This is Morning Glen Business. We're going to be back to wrap things up. Thank you very much. Stay with us.
Okay.
Girl, Junior just showed me Bella Boy in his phone.
What you mean? He take picture of that good-for-nothing boy?
Shh, you don't want Bella here. You say that. You know she always say that's my good child.
So what he doing in Junior phone?
Oh, he there because the police looking for him. He on their wanted list.
Wanted persons in your phone now?
Yes, child. And when police want to find anybody quick, after something happen, they can send pictures direct to your phone. Go to Google Play or App Store and search for Crack Crime Bahamas, then pick install and it will go straight to your phone.
There is also a section on missing persons?
Yes, girl. Everybody needs to get this app so police can tell us right away when these people go missing. Just like an alert system.
Yes, it has numbers for Crime Stoppers Bahamas so you can call and nobody knows it's you. Call directly to Miami and give the information without giving your name or anything about you. I tried the other day and when I hear Junior and his boys talking about where they hide those guns, I walk quick round the corner and call that number.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
Ready to save? You can put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express Plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
We know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
Drive happy with free fuel for a year with CIBC First Caribbean and Esso. Use your CIBC First Caribbean Visa debit or credit card to fuel up with $25 or over at any participating Esso service station, and you are automatically entered for a chance to win the grand prize and weekly prizes of $200 in fuel or cash. Offer runs until March 20th, 2022. Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more details. The Esso brand is a trademark of the ExxonMobil Corporation and is used under license.
It's time for your morning business report, brought to you by CFAL. While noting that the country has taken legislative and policy measures to strengthen its anti-money laundering, combating the financing of terrorism regime, the U.S. Department of State's Bureau of International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs saying a greater focus on small money transfers and online gaming sector vulnerability is needed. The International Narcotics Control Strategy Report is presented each year to the United States Congress to give a briefing on the efforts made by countries around the world to combat all aspects of international drug trade. With more than $4 billion in sales reported in 2021, the report pointed to vulnerabilities for money laundering in the gaming sector. Get details in today's Guardian Business section. In the face of rising oil prices that could come with huge spikes in energy costs and with the ongoing rise in the cost of goods due to the COVID pandemic, BTC CEO Andre Foster says the company is looking at ways it can become more efficient and stem costs, adding that they have done a fairly good job at not passing rising costs on to customers. Foster, who has been the CEO of the company for 1 year now, says BTC is already using solar technology at tower sites in order to decrease costs. He says the company is hoping to expand the solar technology to more sites. Foster is also saying that BTC could begin to roll out its 5G network technology by the second half of the year, saying that the company plans to set the stage for the future of BTC before the end of 2022. And rising oil prices may soon impact the cost of airfare, as local airlines Bahamas Air and Western Air say they will try to hold off on increases for as long as they can but inevitably, rising costs will have to be passed on to customers. According to the International Air Transport Association, the price of jet fuel in the region is up more than 50% compared to the same period last year, and up roughly 5% since the start of the year. Read more about what local airlines say they're going to do or have to do in today's Guardian Business Report. In your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX from Thursday, your market movers, AML Foods Limited moving 1,500 shares, closing unchanged at 530. Consolidated Water unchanged at 195. Emira Incorporated unchanged at 1137. The BISX All-Share Index closing at 2,246.37 unchanged. That's your Market Watch, and that is your morning business report brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
This traffic report is brought to you by Shield Insurance and Prudential Loss Adjusters.
Final look at traffic this morning, and it's a red-hot situation all over New Providence. Lots of thoroughfares still having heavy morning traffic flows from the morning commute. While Gladstone Road traffic has been reduced somewhat, still got a hefty traffic line waiting to get out there on the JFK. So Milo Butler Highway, unfortunately, the same way. Even with the assistance this time with $20 billion highway, it's been the job to get all that traffic off to Milo Butler Highway as quickly as usually expected. And your traffic line is there on Carmichael Road, getting to the traffic light on Blue Hill Road in a slow time. While Blue Hill Road is lightened up somewhat, you still have the hefty traffic line on top of the hill getting into the $20 million roundabout below. And again, because Independence Drive West Lane is still busy. Morning commute traffic can be seen all over Soldier Road, from the road in the south, passing East Street, passing Kensington Garden, up around the Abundant Life area, and even the Old Trail area. On Prince Charles Drive, traffic is slowed from the intersection of Seabreeze Estate Beatrice Drive all the way in to the traffic light of Soldier Road and at the Marathon Road intersection. Marathon Road lightened up somewhat, but you still get that busy traffic headed out onto Wolf Road. And even still, there's a hefty traffic line on Soldier Road, though, attempting to get through that Wolf Road intersection. And that's compounded by the heavy flow of traffic coming off of Bernard Road, also into that same location. Eastern Road still have a hefty traffic flow this hour, this late, wanting to get out onto the Shirley Street area. And this late, six-leg roundabout is now very busy. So it's kind of complicated getting through there. The ride along West Bay Street has lightened up somewhat, but you will have a bit of a slow up leaving the west before you can get through the roundabout there at Sardis Beach. While it still appears it's going to take some time for the morning commute to actually simmer down in the streets of New Providence. This National Traffic Report service of Garden of Eden, where you're able to enjoy the best boiled and stewed Bahamian breakfast on the island all weekend long up until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, served with grits and Johnny Cake. Today they've got peas and grits with snapper on the menu for lunch. To make your order and get easy pickup directions, call 819-5574. With their final look at traffic this morning, I'm VANN.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new